Marseille is the gateway to Provence in southern France. This was a bucket list destination for us for years. In fact, we planned to honeymoon here, but we used the money to adopt our son from China 14 years ago instead. So when we learned we were coming here on our family Mediterranean cruise, we were elated and determined to make the most of it. Suffice to say, things didn't go as planned. We almost missed our ship. You're the last one on? Oh my God. We'll share with you how we navigated this situation and the lessons we learned along the way. Plus our usual port report with all the details you expect. I'm Troy, and this is the Port Lowdown. Marseille is along the southern coast of France, part of the Côte d'Azur, or Blue Coast. This area has long been a tourist magnet for the lovely Provence region and their legendary lavender fields, the famous Pope's Palace at Avignon, and the quaint towns of Aix-en-Provence and Arles. The stereotype of idyllic, picture postcard countryside contrasts hugely with the rougher Marseille, France's second largest city and the Mediterranean's biggest port, with deep history and lots of museums, cathedrals, palaces to take in. But we were passionate about a road trip through Provence, so we pre-booked a rental car to pick up in the city. Marseille has two ports, the small Port de la Juliette for ferries and small ships, and the huge Grand Port Maritime de Marseille, Gate 4, some 20 minutes or about 6 miles north of downtown. Walking to town is not an option from here. This place welcomes the big boys across 6 docks A through F. For our purposes though, there were 2 principal docks, A and B, that share a big parking area between. We docked at Terminal B. Being the early bird, I was off right away at 8 o'clock. I made sure I took a picture of the port agent contact number and a reminder of our 5:30 boarding time, just in case. We had a 9 a.m. appointment to pick up the car, so while waiting for my wife, son, and in-laws, I did my investigating. The terminal was wide, with ample seating and generous amounts of bathrooms. And no frills. No tourist info, no cafe, no gift shop. Just big, super clear signage directing you to all your points of departure. Taxis to the left, just stand in line and take the next one. Ship tours and ho-ho buses met outside to the right, where there are some benches facing the big parking lot. And a shuttle bus stop facing forward, which was used by our cruise line, taking you to town for a $16 all-day pass. But I knew there was a free shuttle to town, so I got directed to this green line. Just follow it, and I'll get there in 15 minutes. Lots of independent companies were using points along the route for pickups. The Seamen's Club, just a few minutes to walk away. And this alley in about 10 minutes. Now, it may have been about 15 minutes to the free shuttle, but it felt longer. I don't know about this, guys. This may fall into the category of more work than it's worth. We'll see. Free is good. What are you laughing at? The shuttle didn't start until 9 a.m. and according to the website via this QR code, it operated every 20 to 30 minutes and dropped you off the small port area of Place de la Juliette, about a 20-minute walk north from the old harbor. The line kept going, so I passed the guard station who had this all ready for tourists venturing this far. Another 5 to 8 minute walk took me to the local bus stop, Route 35T, which was a simple 2-point loop dropping off at Juliette for connections to other parts of the city. Here's the ticket kiosk and prices. And for your freeze frame convenience, I'm throwing in the city maps on display too in case you're interested. Bottom line, if you want to be independent, you'll need to walk and either wait for the free shuttle or pay for the public transport. The walk back was a decent 20 minutes, but at least it was flat. Not a lick of shade though. Now I got back right when my family was coming out and ready to take the taxi into town. Taxi base fares start at about €2, then distance and time are factored in. Credit cards are accepted, but cash is always appreciated. We stocked up on euro before we got here. Lucky thing, since we didn't see any ATMs at the terminal. We had the address to our car rental company, Olympic Rentals, ready to show the driver.
Your location to Makar, no?
Car rental, yeah.
How much location? One day.
Oh, how much?
1 day.
100 euro.
100 euro?
Yeah.
Now, we're running late for our 9 a.m. pickup time, but we figured it's only a 20-minute drive. Well, remember when I said this city was the second largest in France? That meant big city traffic and big city congestion. Turns out traffic here is a major headache, even for the locals.
L'amour avec un grand A, celui qu'on se sert, c'est après les mômes qu'il commence pour de vrai.
Dans les débuts, c'est l'envie d'envie. On se promet tout, et ça pour la vie. Les mots les plus doux, les projets
We reached Olympic Rentals on time. We got the driver's contact number to make coming back easier. Arrangements like that are common with cabbies all over and saved us lots of time in the long run. The facility was nice, clean, with helpful, and really young staff. Our young friend was quite helpful going over the various additional insurance options, which we always take, and specifying which type of gas to refuel with. And apparently there's a lot of options here, and car inspection. The whole process from arrival to driving off took about 20 minutes. Now, we chose Olympic because it's a large company with high customer ratings, but it's also near the train station, but not in it. So we didn't pay the extra fees attached to the train station and airport locations. See our link in the description for contact info. The roads are in great shape, wide and well-maintained. You drive on the right, just like the States. But France has its own versions of road signs, which, while most likely self-explanatory, you may want to get some orientation beforehand. See our links in the description for some help. There were tolls, where you get a ticket at the entry point and pay on exit. Credit cards are fine and actually faster than fiddling around with spare euros. Speed limits fluctuate quite a bit here, so much so that I needed to call out the speed signs to keep Angelia on track, as we wanted to avoid speed traps.
So one says 50 over here, and then one says 70 on that side, and this one says 110. You seriously need a second set of eyes to watch over this if you don't know what's going on, because it's like you could just get nailed so easily on this road.
You know, like 70, 90, 70, like within like so many meters.
Of course, the locals were hip to traffic flows, but we decided to play it safe and take it more cautiously and slower than normal. And roundabouts. The French love their roundabouts, and especially along the non-freeway roads, we encountered a lot.
Go to level 2, two roundabouts side by side.
To play the game roundabout game.
Now, we had a route plan. We were more interested in Avignon and the Pope's Palace rather than Aix-en-Provence. True, Avignon was 45 minutes farther up north, but we had time and the car. Plus, we could check out the lavender fields at Abbaye de Notre-Dame de Senonc, about another hour east. We started driving about 9:30, and right away we needed a restroom. We were already in the car, driving through a difficult, unfamiliar city with limited spaces to even stop.
Go straight. That's the train station. Don't go there. Go this way.
So we opted to get out of central town. But where do we stop? That was tricky. It's not like you can Google Map Starbucks for the next roadside location. We finally chose a shopping mall which is about 20 minutes out of town, Grand Littoral, one of France's biggest shopping malls. Actually a pretty cool place. Not just nice and free bathrooms, but a place to get supplies for the road or check out the local stores. We were back on our way by about 10:30. We got to Avignon about noon. The infrastructure layout was pretty easy. Man, I wish we had more of these at home. An electronic sign telling you how many available parking spaces there were before entering town. We focused on the historic Pope's Palace Square, which had underground parking. Super convenient. Avignon was the second Vatican during the 14th century, with 7 popes making it home during the corruption of Rome. The square has the palace entrance, a small tour train, and several tourist eateries. We chose one of those to save time, and although it had tourist prices we expected, the food was quite good. And the view was to die for. Just be careful of the cobblestone sidewalks, of course, and easy to miss low ledges along slopes, like long stairs. At lunch, we had to decide to stay or make a run for the lavender fields. It was already 1 p.m., but the lavender fields were an important part of our plans. So we skipped going to the palace, opting for lunch and taking a few pictures before heading back on the road by 1:30. By the way, if you'd like to be independent, like us, while cruising, be sure to like and subscribe to get easy access to our other port reports, ship tours, and tips. Abbaye Notre-Dame de Senonc was another hour's drive, but we figured we could park and get some nice pictures while exploring the fields and abbey grounds. Well, the abbey is inside a mountainous region, which is drop-dead beautiful, but it's also slow going, with tight, twisting roads, lots of bikers along blind turns, and no phone signal. The GPS would track us, but no directions. We reached the Abbey about 2:30 to find quite a large crowd of tour coaches and cars. So entrance to the Abbey was restricted that day. The crowds were just too big. Anyway, the stop was a quick one. The lavender fields themselves seemed a bit muted. Maybe it was past their full color? We were driving again by about 3 p.m. Now we started to feel the clock ticking. We had 2.5 hours left before the boarding deadline. We had an hour and a half drive south back to the car rental location and another 20 minutes to get back to the ship, which meant we needed about 2 hours. We figured, no problem, we still had 30 minutes leeway. Plus, we had to make a few stops. First, we found our fantasy lavender field by chance along the road. Cars were honking at us, but we couldn't get this chance again. We bolted out and got our shots without entering or disturbing the field. My mother-in-law in particular dreamed of seeing fields like this for a long time, so this is a wish fulfilled. Next, we needed restrooms again, but at least the McDonald's we found en route had decent parking. Last, approaching Marseille turned into a bit of a nail-biter as our Waze navigation app kept increasing the ETA. 5 minutes more, 10 minutes more, 20 minutes more, the closer we got to town. Plus, it was approaching rush hour and past 5 p.m. And Julia was already thinking about the worst-case scenario. How do we fly to our next port of call in Genoa, Italy after missing the ship? Here's where that picture from the ship saved us. Step 1, we called the port agent and explained the situation. He relayed the message to the cruise line with our contact number. The ship gave us a 15-minute grace period. Next, we called the cabbie's number and arranged to have him meet us at the rental office as soon as we got there.
Okay, we made it.
We managed to get back to the rental office at about 5:20 or so. We got done with the return process in about 10 minutes. Needless to say, we never got the gas, so we ate the fuel charge. Our cabbie met us there, and the race was on to get back to the ship.
This is the first for us. This is the first time to be late for the ship. Give yourself plenty of time to return the car, because this town is just not great. Hi. Thank you. Thank you.
We had an extra cash tip waiting for him at the end of it, but we asked for a hustle. He delivered, and the cruise ship called us twice to check our progress, asking, "Can you see the ship yet?"
Where's here, the ship? Is here. Look.
I see. It's not sail away yet.
We got back on board the ship within a few minutes of our 15-minute window.
So this is what it looks like when you're late for the ship. Because we have... Everyone comes to greet you.
It was awkward, but no harsh words, just friendly greetings back. We took the step to notify everyone ahead of time, and that made a huge difference. Still, the experience of being a port runner wasn't one I wanted to repeat. So what did we learn? First, we underestimated how long things would take, from traffic conditions to necessary side trips. Also plan for crowds and finding parking to eat up some of that time. Second, be sure to get the port agent number and any other numbers like the cabbie number to reach for. It saved our bacon. Third, there's a time constraint with ports of call, which meant, in this case, perhaps rethinking the car rental option entirely. It's perfect if you're staying a few days and have time to wander, but we needed at least an hour of travel and processing time to get the car. If I could do this again and wanted to explore Provence, I would have searched out a private driver for the day who would pick us up at the port. Or, if we still wanted to rent a car, get out of port ASAP and perhaps stay closer, visiting Aix-en-Provence and the lavender fields there. But ideally, we want to slow travel here. This is a region to savor. We had a similar situation in Ensenada, Mexico with a car rental and delays getting back. You can check that and the solutions to that situation here. And as always, we love your comments and questions. What do you think of this situation? Would you have done anything differently? Let us know, and happy travels.